Welcome.
Welcome to the Everything Podcast, Season 2, Episode 64. So in the last episode, which obviously was Season 2, Episode 63, I did some reviews of Monodot 2, which was Series 6, Episode 11, The God Complex, Series 6, Episode 12, Closing Time, Series 6, Episode 13, The Wedding and River Song, the 2011 Christmas Special, The Doctor, Widow and the Doctor, The Widow and the Wardrobe. Then I reviewed Series 7 Episode 1 titled Asylum of the Daleks, Series 7 Episode 2 Dinosaurs and Spaceship, and I also revealed the cast and the broadcast dates for Series 7. So obviously we'll be continuing with Monodot 2 reviews for Series 7, starting with Series 7 Episode 3. Titled A Town Called Mercy. But before all that, it's time for this episode's feature titled 3 in 30. So just a reminder, if you haven't watched a 3 in 30 segment before, I will give you 3 clues about what you can expect over the next couple of episodes. It will be around 30 seconds long. So obviously the first one is more Doctor Who reviews. The second one is tomorrow will be the 75th episode. And there will be some more surprises to come. That is it for this episode's feature titled 3 in 30. So without further ado, let's get to my next Monodot 2 review, which is, as I've said, Series 7, Episode 3, titled A Town Called Mercy. Now it's time, as I've just said, for my first Doctor Who review of this episode, which is Series 7, Episode 3, A Town Called Mercy. So in this story, the Doctor sonics a rock, which turns out to literally be a rock. The Doctor comments that a streetlight is 10 years too early. The Doctor nearly chokes on a toothpick. The Doctor publicly announces he is an alien. The Doctor is kidnapped with Amy and Rory restrained, being powerless to help him. The Doctor is threatened with guns. The Doctor is saved by the Sheriff. The Doctor threatens to shoot someone, which is very uncharacteristic of the Doctor. Amy and the Doctor have an argument about morals and being better people. Amy convinces the Doctor to do the right thing. The Sheriff sacrifices himself, and the Doctor becomes the Sheriff. Here are a few clips from Series 7, Episode 3, titled A Town Called Mercy. At the end of A Town Called Mercy was a Next Time trailer was released. Here it is. Yes, that was the Next Time trailer released at the end of Series 7, Episode 3, titled A Town Called Mercy. Now, the power of 3, similar to A Good Man Goes to War, is one of my favourite Doctor Who episodes. Yes, it's really small, but it's one of the last episodes that feature Amy and Rory. That's not the reason why I like it though. It also introduces Kate Stewart, who reappears in Series 8. And comes back in Series 13 as well, and as we know will be part of Series 14 next year. But yeah, here are a few teasers for Doctor Who Series 7 Episode 4, titled The Power of 3. Those were the teasers that were released for Series 7 Episode 4, titled The Power of 3. So next up will be my review for Series 7 Episode 4, The Power of 3. Yep, so as I just said, it is time for what possibly could be my favourite ever Doctor Who episode, and I realised while I was reviewing this episode why it's my favourite. It's the humour, it's the Doctor being out of his comfort zone and not being able to leave, really. So here is my review for Series 7, Episode 4, titled The Power of Three. So in this story, unit soldiers invade Amy and Rory's home. Kate Stewart introduces herself to the Doctor, Amy and Rory. The Doctor comments on his hatred on Twitter. Brian makes his return in the story, last seen only 2 stories ago in Series 7 Episode 2, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. The Doctor confesses he hates being patient, and patience is for wimps. The Doctor hates Amy and Rory's fence as well as mowing their lawn, because like I just said, the Doctor is not a patient person. Cubes are the villain of the story, like the 3D shape, which is very interesting. The Doctor and Amy visit Unit HQ, which is located underneath the Tower of London. One of the cubes emits fire, while another cube plays the Birdie song on a never-ending loop, which the Doctor despises and puts his fingers in his ears. At the end of The Power of Three, a next time trailer was revealed. Released at the end of Series 7, Episode 4, titled The Power of Three. Next up were a few teasers released ahead of Series 7, Episode 5, The Angels Take Man. So those were the those were the teasers released ahead of Series 7, Episode 5, The Angels Take Manhattan, which, as I have mentioned several times, is Amy and Rory's last story, and is also the end of Series 7, Part 1. So next up will be my review for Series 7, Episode 5, titled The Angels Take Manhattan. Now it's time for my review of Series 7, Episode 5, The Angels Take Manhattan, which is Amy and Rory's swan song. So in this episode, Rory is being chased by a weeping angel, which we first encountered in Series 3, Episode 10, Blink, and made a return in Series 4, Episode 4, The Flesh. Now, I merged the titles there, The Time of Angels, and Series 5, Episode 5, Flesh and Stone. Amy and Rory jump off a roof to stop a paradox, which means that time will fall in on itself. River is featured in the story. River was last seen in the Series 6 finale, The Wedding of River Song. Rory and Amy save the day. Rory jokes about him coming back to life several times. Amy and Rory sacrifice themselves to live together in the past, where the Doctor and River can never see or visit Amy and Rory ever again. And as we find out in A Good Man Goes to War, Amy and Rory are River's parents. Amy tells the Doctor through a book to never travel alone. That was my review for Series 7, Episode 5, titled The Angels Take Manhattan. Here are a few clips from Series 7, Episode 5, titled The Angels Take Manhattan. Next up will be my review for, on BBC iPlayer, it's Series 7, Episode 6. In reality, that kind of makes sense because of, it's Series 7, Episode 5 was The Angels Take Manhattan, which you've just seen a few clips from and I've just reviewed. But it's actually the 2012 Christmas special titled The Snowman, so that'll be coming up shortly. Yeah, so next up is my review of the 2012 Christmas special titled The Snowman. So this story takes place in Victorian London. During this story, the Doctor is grief-stricken after losing both Amy and Rory. The Paternoster gang return in the story, last seen in A Good Man Goes to War, Series 6, Episode 7. I should actually have included the members of the Paternoster gang in my cast, because my cast breakdown, because they're in several episodes, so they return in this episode, and they're in a couple of other episodes. Just a reminder that Madame Vastra is played by Neve McIntosh, Jenny Flint is played by Catherine Stewart, and Strax is played by Dan Starkey. A past version of Clara appears in the story. The villain of this story is the Snowmen. The title, which is the title of this story, the Snowmen appear when thought of, so it's kind of a psychic villain type thing. During this story, the Doctor forgets who he truly is. Madame Vastra and Jenny meet past Clara. Vastra explains what the Doctor used to be like to Clara. Another villain of this story is the Ice Governess. The Doctor saves Clara using his sonic and turns back to his usual self as the Doctor. The third villain of this story is revealed to be known as the Great Intelligence, who makes a further appearance in Series 7. Future appearance. The Doctor shows past Clara, the TARDIS. The TARDIS has had some changes or improvements since Series 7, Episode 5, which is the last episode. The Angels take Manhattan. Past Clara dies, and the Doctor realises that past Clara has died. So that is my review for the Doctor Who 2012 Christmas special titled The Snowman. Now we're getting into Series 7 Part 2, which, as I mentioned in the breakdown of the Series 7, it's in 2 parts, and Part 2 premiered in 2013. So here is the trailer for Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2. Yeah, but before I get to reviewing the proper episodes of Doctor Who Series 7, the next episode I will be reviewing will be The Bells of St. John prequel, so that's what's coming up next. Next up is my review for Series 7 Episode 6. Well, it's a prequel to it actually, The Bells of St. John, a prequel. So in this prequel, a girl talks to the Doctor, who calls the Doctor old, which she actually is. The Doctor talks to the girl about looking for Clara following the events of the Snowman, which was the 2012 Christmas special. And this prequel takes place in the past because it is revealed at the end that the Doctor was talking to a very young Clara Oswald. So the Doctor doesn't recognise her. And that's actually it for the Everything Podcast Season 2, Episode 64. So just remember that tomorrow's episode will be the 75th episode, so we're going to be taking an episode break from my Modern Doctor Who reviews. So yeah, I'll be showing my favourite episode from Series 50 to... No, not Series 50, Episode 50 to Episode 75. And I'll be doing the same with your favourite, and then in Episode 66 we'll be returning to the Modern Doctor Who review, starting with Series 7, Episode 6, titled The Bells of St. John. So we'll be reviewing, hopefully, for Episode 66, the entirety of Series 7 Part 2, but we'll just have to see about that. But yeah, so just a reminder that tomorrow's episode, there may not be a feature in tomorrow's episode, I haven't decided quite yet. But that is it for the Everything Podcast Season 2, Episode 64. Goodbye.